Okay, so I almost forgot to record. I just started playing along. And just started going here. So, any case, let's get back to... So Japan bought 3 bombers and a fighter. That's the downside of letting them stay big. And letting them come up in here. He killed my transport there, and... Oh, yeah, he took 2 transports to hit DEI and take DEI, which is going to be tough because now we're going to take Borneo. He's going to bomb, kill the infantry. So we got 4, 5 to build the factory, 6 to build people, 7 till we could even get to DEI, and he's going to have these plus all these fighters and bombers that he's building that's going to be able to fly in. So it's going to be tough. Yeah, and then move his fleet into the Med here. All things said, done. This game's pretty much over. The Caucasus mistake was the final straw. What I needed at this point was not to let his battleship get out, because that messed me up and made me have to start changing take the foot off the pedal here, which meant I didn't have my second and third transport coming over here in time. And then it also, of course, this wipe just was hugely profitable, so that sped up Moscow by at least 1 round. Really, I think it sped it up by 2, because I think I might have been able to squeeze it out to G9. I did not calculate. I definitely was out to G8 prior to this. I had not calculated out G9 yet. I think I might have been able to make it, at least make him pause and think before attacking G9, and that would have given me time to get all of this developed. So with this not being developed and Africa being an issue, Africa Mediterranean being an issue, I don't really see an exit out of this game. I'm going to play this probably about 3 more, maybe 4 rounds, just to see how everything develops, but I don't see an out on this at this moment. But we're going to play it, like I said, 3-4 rounds, just see how it develops. So we're going to be able to sub a couple bombers and a transport. Oh, yeah. Attack, we're just taking Borneo and killing his free transports there. I am going to slightly prioritize stabilizing the money islands over stabilizing Africa, which isn't good in and of itself. So, again, we are going to go ahead and do this. So both of these can get to 45. My fleet can get to 45. He's going to build enough that I'm probably going to need to retreat or something. And or we can hook around 38 and 46. But we can get these 2 transports, hopefully in range for a US-6 hitting down here, and maybe we'll have enough fighters and bombers coming down this way to put enough pressure there. That's why the builder bomber build, because they can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 landing in here. Assuming we can get, well, we won't have the infantry build yet there. That may not be good. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, we could land safely here, and that can let us put pressure on DEI, so we'll probably bring the bombers down here. But either way, that's the whole idea. Now he's going to be able to build in C-Zone 62 if he wants to. I wouldn't blame him if he did, but it's just something we had to concede again. But I'd almost rather him build a few boats and then me be able to come back and I have enough. I should be able to get enough pressure back in there if he builds boats. So I don't think I doubt he will, but he could. All right, we're hoping for super infantry that shoot down 2 bombers with one of them living. One can hope. One can hope. Depending on Germany's turn, I might be able to fly a fighter in there before Japan goes, but I doubt it. But we got that opportunity possible, depending on what G does. So our 2 bombers can hit if a battleship survives. I just realized, crud, I need to make this fighters before carriers, because if he takes Morocco, then he can hit that and just let it, and then retreat and let them sacrifice. Dang it. That's going to make that a little bit better for him. Well, we got it on fighter before carrier anyways. Before we forget, let's get this back. Not submerge. Oh, I forgot about these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they're both 5. I paid attention to these guys, but then I just realized I may have positioned them where those guys could reach. Doesn't look like it. Mobilization. So I do kind of need to take that. We're going to go ahead and do that. That'll give me a 12. We'll take the 1 there. I get a feeling, unfortunately, I think using these units, and they're going to get killed by units that aren't going to be attacking Moscow, is going to hurt me in the end, but we'll see what he does. So I did set up a kind of a, if he moves these guys into 16, I got 2 fighters, 4 fighters going there. But of course, then he's got these guys that'll move before I can do that. So then they'll go into 16. From there, I don't know. Again, this is just so since he has 2 and air. Here it's 1. Maybe we get a hit back and we keep it one more time. Silly, yes, but whatever. There you go. Like I said, very glum. All right, so desperate times, desperate measures. He expanded into Africa, of course. He built tanks. So he's looking at the G7. He took Caucasus, obviously. Moved everything up to the front lines here. And so I think we are going to... we're going to go all in on, we're going to push the G7 timing. So he's planning on bringing these up G6, building his artilleries, build tanks, build fire bombers, whatever, with his money left, and aim for G7. Like I said, I need more time down here, regardless. So, whoops. So we're looking at building 3 more fighters, and we're gonna try to scare him into giving me to G8. So there's a lot of complex moving pieces, and I can't even speak to all the parts that's going into this thought here. But this is what I've worked G7 to potentially be down to. Highly profitable, good chance. But if we get that top 28% and simply one fire lives, then he's losing 306 versus 299. It was positive for me. And I'm at that point that I need a top 28% battle to win this game. I mean, this is, as it stands, if I just play it slow and conservatively, there's nothing going to go on here. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my little fleet here into C-Zone 14. Crazy, right? Absolutely. You're not wrong on that regards. If he moves these guys in, moves his Japan fleet into 14, so be it. I've got other options. If he goes to reinforce 16, but if he does that, then U.S. can put 6 fighters in Moscow, so that's going to discourage the battleship destroyer transport to 16 on G6, which is helping his G7, so that would take 2 units out of the G7 attack of his, and make that number I just showed even better. So that number was including him doing a transport from Italy on up to the Caucasus. So we're going to try to discourage, or kind of try to mess up the logistics in here. If he doesn't attack the cruiser with the whole fleet, or if he only sends a sub to attack the cruiser, then we step into 14 with our Americans, and yes, he'd have battleship destroyer, 3 bombers, and a fighter that could hit it and probably wipe it. But again, that's taking 2 units out from attacking Caucasus, and probably a fighter and a bomber as well, so that we would almost guarantee that he would not attempt G7, although it would be taking 2 of my fighters out that I'm counting as well. So G7 would get even scarier for him. Granted, we'd then have to deal with the sea lion threat, but we just got to deal with issues as we come along to them. So so we're trying to mess up the logistics in the Mediterranean for him. Down here, I'm actually going to put 1 fighter, 1 UK. I mean, it could even be better on there, but stalling Germany around doesn't help me if all my if my whole logistics in the Pacific gets stalled 2 rounds because he wipes out my infantry. So we're going to take a risk. We're going to put 1 fighter. Now, he could still do it, but I'm going to take fighters before infantry. Defensive profile. How many of you have that defensive profile on your screen? Hopefully, the odds with that is that 1 infantry lives. Hopefully that happens. I mean, it's a dice game, so we just gotta roll the dice. So, I am going to take this shot because that's going to affect our non-combat moves. I'm also going to take this shot to help with the whole defending Moscow bit. Now, he'll have an opportunity to hit India, and if he hits India and takes out my fighters, then oh well. Then it means this lives. His bomber force would be depleted, and we'd have a little bit more freedom with these guys here. I suspect him to land a bunch of planes out here on DEI instead, which I guess he could still hit 1, 2, 3, 4 and still do that. But I don't know. We gotta take risks. We gotta take dice and hope for some dice in here. I think that's my only attack, actually. I was thinking about coming to 8. So my backup plan is I can move my carrier up to 7 so that the fighters can get there on G6 for that G7, or excuse me, US 6 for that G7 defense. Yep. Looks like those are our 2 attacks. Well, that sucked. Not what I needed in this at this point in the game. Erg. Both of them getting hit backs. Gosh, dang it. I kind of need that income for my what I was counting on too. Oh well, whatever. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he should be safe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he should be safe naked. I'm leaving myself open to a sea lion here as well, I just realized. Especially if I move my fleet in, like I plan on doing. Well, I'm going to gamble it. I'm going to gamble that he gets focused in on this stuff and doesn't think about the sea lion component of it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Move them on up to here instead. That would give me UK takes. The planes would have 1, 2, 3, 4 landing. So what I'm looking at is if I may move my US ships here. Well, this transport could still take there. And if you went for some sort of build, I'd have at least 2 U.S. fighters that could go still hit there from the ship or from here, 1, 2, 3, and then land in one of these 2 zones or land in Northwest Europe if this guy came back and took Northwest Europe. So that gives me the Northwest Europe landing. If I just take the transport up here, is that transport really what 1 infantry really going to make a difference right now? As I think about it, probably not. So let's just go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can't land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, we're safe up there. Plus, actually, I did need that to threaten to hit Karelia too, so for that G6 build, an infantry, artillery, and a fighter at least could hit if he moves everything in, and which he needs for the G7 attack, and builds a tank there. That takes out the tank build there. All right, I'm going to play with to get my defensive profile correct so that I don't, I got to exit the game and build a new defense because I don't have a fighter before infantry defensive profile, and then I'll set that up. But that'll be it for this turn. You don't need to watch me do that. Okay, continue on the game. Again, desperate measures, desperate times. U.S. is really having to support both the Atlantic and the Pacific, which they're actually not doing a horrible job at, as well as support Moscow. So U.S. is doing okay. And not to say that UK wasn't part of that. Their sacrifices were greatly appreciated, but they could have done a better job to help protect Africa. Anyways, my timing order on my last move was just... I hate to say my brain's not focusing, but my brain's just not focusing real well on Axis and Allies. Got other stuff going on that's preoccupying myself. But I don't know why I was thinking if I didn't move my U.S. fighters here, it'd be dead zoning 16. But these guys can just turn around. If I use my U.S. fighters up, Germany can still transport forward, and these guys can come back and protect them still. So my brain just is a little... I don't know. Anyways, so I wasted my cruiser is the bottom line of that. Moving on. We're going to build in our artillery, a couple air, and an industry for Borneo. Now, I think he's going to give me G8, let me pass on G7. He's going to pass on G7, even though he'll have... up to like an 80% odds or maybe 83% or I don't know, something like that odds and plus 60 IPC. Maybe he'll give it a round strafe, but to do it, he'd have to go in this turn with his builds of all bombers, artillery bombers, and maybe a tank. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I got a feeling he feels confident where he's at as well, so which he has every right to be. So I think he'll be conservative. I don't think he'll take that shot. I lost a team's duo on a 90% shot on Moscow, and we missed it. So, I'm willing to give him that to try to get back into the game. So I don't think he'll take it. I think we have till G8. But to make it happen, we do got to get all the fighters, including these two fighters and these two fighters, in range of Moscow now in order to defend, which means attacking DEI. That gives us up, and he can go ahead and build in G6. So we're going to give DEI a rest for a turn. I'm not going to sacrifice the transport yet for Philippines. We're just going to bring the Navy back, get our transports underneath our Navy, and as long as we take this, which we should, none of the fighters can reach. Only his 5 bombers can reach, and we have enough Navy without the planes to protect ourselves. And so we'll get all our fighters over, get our fighters on over into India here. I thought about doing a air strafe on infantry. Basically killing 2 infantry for 1 fighter is a positive, well, essentially net neutral give. So, maybe that's a potential shot, but I also would like to have 6 fighters able to hit DEI on US 6 in case we decide to just bail on protecting Moscow. So I'd want 6 fighters in India, which we'll have 2, we leave 2, we do 2 and 2 cross hitting up here, and that should be enough. You know what? I need to check something real quick. But yeah, so I think I might do a 4 fighter strafe on the 2 infantry. If I don't get 2 hits and he gets 1 hit, it sucks. If we get 2 hits, he gets no hits. That's a bonus. At the end of the day, I'm going back and forth. Maybe I won't, because at the end of the day, it's not really going to change the stack. It's not going to change the turn number. We're not going to make it a G9. That's a given, because they'll have these infantry getting in there by then, plus another couple infantry from here and another tank build. So we're not going to make it a G9. We know that for sure. I'm fairly confident he's going to give us G8, even though he could take a shot at Moscow. So I don't know that risking the planes on the infantry is really worth it. It's not going to buy me more time, I don't think. Maybe it secures G8 a little bit better for me, but maybe it turns around and bites me in the butt and then makes it go, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to take G7 because I only hit 1 or none, and he hit a fighter. So the benefit just doesn't outweigh the risk this time. I'm a big fan of using air to hit isolated infantry like this, but in this particular case, I just don't think they outweigh each other. So yeah. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm saving 4. I bought an artillery to match up with this infantry for right now. I'm debating whether to move the transport up here or just have him sit here so he could pick up the artillery. But if he brings, as I expect he will, these guys out into the field, especially if they come down this direction, then having my transport sit here really isn't going to do much good. But if I have him here, I could go with the UK and take Scandinavia at least next turn. So I think I'm going to move him on up to 10 just so that we could do that, even though we're building the artillery this turn in case it stalls out and we end up moving the infantry up there. The more I think about it, I think we'll save 1 more and just make it an infantry. An infantry to pair with the other AA gun in case things pan out that way. So, here we go. Attacks. Do we have attack? Oh, yeah, we do. I know, it's overkill, but it's a dice game. I don't know that there is a such thing as overkill in a dice game. Can you guys? We could strike at them, but I need the 2 bombers as part of my defense. So I can't afford not having the fighters and bomb. I can't afford having the fighters and bombers hitting Japan ships right now. So they get a pass this turn. Does give us a nice little 5 to 6 ground on here next turn, and then these fighters I can go 1, 2, 3 and come up here. So hopefully we're putting some pressure on these ground units as well, although we really got to get this guy and this guy under control and this guy. These are the 3 big territories that we still need to get. All right, I do think that's all the attacks this turn. I don't think we're gonna. I just don't think the benefit outweighs the potential cost. Wow! And out of all of that, one of the infantry hit. That's what hits. I really wanted to bring these guys down to here because then we could have 6 fighters and the 2 bombers and all of this threatening here. But from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it can't reach Moscow. These guys aren't safe anymore. I was hoping to bring the UK down here, bring the US down here, but that failed. Tank hit there, and then I could have had the bomber here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the bomber could have been putting pressure down on this side of the world. Bombers. So really our only 2 safe landing points, I guess this is probably 1, 2, 3, yeah, Greenland technically safe, but is Iceland and UK. We're going to take the UK. That gives us what, 4? He's got 3 bombers currently on the board. He's probably going to build another one. If I bring the sub up here, that, or back here, that prevents him from taking the battleships back and sliding the sub out to create headaches. But if he builds one more bomber, then my 4 would be at risk. You know what? Let him slide the slub out. We're going to move these guys up anyways. So we got our 6 fighters here. There's no point in bringing 2 more back because 8. I only got 3 carriers. I guess 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they'd have to be already in the water. So building a carrier there wouldn't help me out. So yeah, we will just have the 6 and we'll leave the other 2 up here. Maybe next turn we'll do a strafe on loose infantry running around. I don't think there's anything better for them to go. Yeah. So the fighters here is these fighters can fly into Moscow. These fighters can go 1, 2, 3, 4 into C Zone 3, which is looking like might be my next move to take those guys. Or they can just fly up to here, or they could fly down this way and then catch on the carrier. If he moves down this way, we'd still have 2 fighters, 2 bombers. At least I could go down that way. So that's the point of the fighters. What do we still need to mobilize? Oh, an infantry. Russia turns pretty easy. So we're saving 1. We got 8. That gives me 9. If I send 1 infantry out to grab a 2, that'll give me 11, which will let me build an AA next turn. And since he's got all the air coming, a second AA is a little bit better defense. So we are going to sacrifice 1 infantry that he'll be able to kill. Plus, who knows, maybe that infantry gets a hit back. I think I'll send him this direction. I don't know which one I want, but we'll grab that one. That gives me an AA instead of, basically I'm sacrificing that infantry to upgrade to an AA in my build next turn. That's what that boils down to. There we go. All right, we're not going to drag this out too much further. I'm going to wrap up a few of our turns here and just see how things set up post Moscow. Honestly, I just don't see us getting set up in a way that I'd be satisfied with, and Germany's going to have too much income at that point, plus the fleet, although we might be able to wipe the fleet out on our Bale of Moscow. So mainly I want to see what he sets up for G8. He did G6 just like I thought, though, so I imagine G8's going to be just like I think as well, which, what did I calculate G8 to be at? I think an 84% if he does what I think he could. He could up that. I probably will take the 84%, let the dice roll, and if I get lucky, wonderful. If I don't, okay. That would be game, most likely. Because we'll have all of our bazillion fighters sitting in Moscow that he'd wipe out. So, in any case, we're just going to play this out just probably to round 8 or 9. just see how the post-apocalyptic world sets up, and go from there. So, like I said, he did what I expected. He bought 4 artilleries, dropped them there, grabbed a couple bombers, and then filled out the rest with infantry. Putting in Karelia down here. So, not a surprise there. We're just going to buy 2 infantry, 2 fighters. We're going to get max ready for possibly extending this to G9. I don't expect that to happen, but he's also a well, he's not a conservative player. He's playing conservatively now because he can play conservatively now. So, maybe he lets me get to G9, and maybe that lets me get a foothold down in here. And if I can just get a foothold without getting victory citied, maybe we can build off of that. But it'll depend what he does with all my fighters over here. C-Zone 16 will get dead zone, so that's going to be the other problem, is he's probably going to take these guys out of there. And then we've got 3 battleships staring at UK. So he's got multiple ways to win this game at high confidence at this point. But we're gonna do a couple turns here, a couple rounds, just you never know what the dice might decide to do. Unfortunately, we're really pinned here, because he did put his fighters up here. I was hoping I'd be able to take Norway, Finland, and he'd only have his 5 bombers, and I'd be willing to risk that. But instead, he's got 5 bombers, 5 fighters he's throwing up there. Part of me wants to just grab Norway for the value of taking that, but I don't think it's consequential, and I'm not going to be able UK losing Africa. They're not going to be able to afford to build another transport here before long. So I think I need what I got just to be able to pick at him when we get to the next stage. So I don't think we're going to go that route. He's got 8 guys there, so we can't really stack there. Is there anything else these guys could do that was interesting? Not really. Not much he can do. He's just going to get killed. Hopefully he picks somebody off on the way out. I will put a second guy there just so that we do take it. So if he wants to trade it again, he's got to pull away from units that will be attacking Moscow G8. I thought about the ideas of pulling the transport back, but he's gonna pull the sub out because the sub does no good in here. So he's gonna at least pull the sub, down to here. In which case, what good is it having a transport here? He can't at least threaten Karelia. Here we can at least have 6 fighters, infantry, artillery threatening Karelia. So yeah. I think that's all of our attacks. Yep. Glad I put the second guy in there. We're just hanging tight. We're going up here. He's coming up here. They can't really move in. I could throw my AA in there just to annoy him, but I don't think it would stop him because he could just trade with ground units. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, we're going to try to extend it, see if we can sing this to G9, see if he's how risky he is willing to take, and if he does take the risk, maybe we get some lucky dice. I'm trying to force a big battle before just throwing the towel in, because I can't remember if I recorded it or not, but I was in a teams fight early. I was doing I was defending a KJF, and we had a 90+% shot on Moscow. We took it, we got wiped, and we had no backup, and we lost that game. So yeah, dice happen. So we're gonna see if we can force him to take the battle, and then go from there. So I'd say my odds now at this point are about 1% in this game. Okay, so Japan's turn. The good news is they let go of DEI, so it's going to be worth us to go ahead and take Philippines and DEI at the same time, because what they did do is they now are up to 12 fighters and 5 bombers. So they are at a very strong air defense, which is what we wanted to do. And, you know, frankly, in a KJF, it's less efficient for Japan to be buying planes versus boats for defense. But, you know, obviously this game's gone a little bit screwy, so that's a very strong defense. So he's already got, 17 air attackers, which could move down here to where they could attack CZone 36 next turn, which is going to be problematic for me, because I do want to start taking the peninsula. We're probably going to take these two, come back to Borneo, stack up on Borneo, because at least there he'd have to put his fighters here in order to be able to attack Borneo. So 1, 2, 3. So the fighters can't reach here. So we'll be able to stay here while our U.S. fighters, the rest of our fighters, are off trying to defend Moscow. But we do got to start rebuilding this as well, because even with what we've got 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus their 6 fighters gives me 15. To his already 17. So we're going to have to build another carrier at some point. So we might as well start getting our fighters ready for it too. Plus, we're going to need more, to be frankly honest. But next turn, we'll be able to come. We're going to stack DEI, take Philippines. We're going to sacrifice the transport, because at this point, with that much air, he could dump it all in the Philippines, and it may take me forever to get the Philippines back. The bad news is he did build a factory as well, so they're going to be pumping out infantry on the mainland, which is just going to be that much more problematic when they've got all this air behind even just 2 or 3 infantry, yet alone the 9 he's got sitting here is going to be quite the punch that Japan's going to continue to have and grow. So, again, very bleak looking situation. I'm not sure where our opportunity is going to come other than a defense of Moscow and Germany neuter itself completely. But for now, we're going to build 4 fighters. I do want to continue to build 2 here, because we're going to push a 90% or make him take a 90% shot on Moscow. You know, at this point, 90% is better than making him take a 90% battle is better than trying to run this game through, to be honest. So, which means these 2 fighters are going to come here in US 6. They're going to go in Moscow in US 7. So I do need for US 7 2 more fighters here to meet up with this carrier to then start planning whatever we're going to try to do with Africa and Europe over here. Of course, he's going to have 5 bombers, plus he's going to build another 4 bombers when he decides to attack Moscow. So he's going to be pushing my fleet out and looking at a sea lion. So lots of different ways he can win this game, to be perfectly honest. But like I said, we're going to play this out just a little bit longer and see if we can get him to take a battle that goes our way and go from there. What the heck? Gotta love these controls. Again, I could start taking risk shots on these, and I might next turn. This turn, not going to. It's not even really worth bombing Berlin because he doesn't really even need that production spots right now or for a while. So I don't think it's worth risking the bombers. We're going to get them to Moscow, and then we'll have our bombers, and we'll have a whole bunch of air. So we'll dead zone C-Zone 16 at least to help improve, make sure that we make it to G9 timing. Good news with G9 timing is the fact that he does, again, right through here, there's no more backup because he went with that tank build. There's no more backup here. So he's only going to be building 4 at the front line. Plus, again, you know, he could always build bombers, whatever. Of course, he's going to go ahead and build tanks on G7. I could go G8 and be there in G9. So I think he does another tank build to help secure G9 timing because that's his only reinforcement line then. So we're going to move these guys. I'm just taking everything on in there. Go ahead and just kind of beef up, although he may take the 5 bomber shot at these guys, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I do want to go ahead with that being said. I mean, that lets him attack, and then I don't have a, you know what, we're just going to keep it as fighter before carrier. Those guys can be picked up next turn if he doesn't do anything with them. I built the 2 because we knew we'd have to at least have the tank live here, and so that would give me a optimistic the other one would live. But you know, I was going to have at least just 1, so that each transport would have at least 1 to take each, so that maybe we get a chance to put these here, depending where he puts his fighters. I kind of doubt it. I imagine we're going to come back to Borneo, stack up here, and then come over. I got half a mind to do 1 infantry, 2 fighters, and take that risk. Let's see what that looks like real quick. Yeah, you know what? I think I will take a... Just because it's 2 artillery sitting out there, helping increase his attack value. We're going to see if we can do a 2 for 3 trade and just give it a whirl. I mean, that would give us, if we take it, that would give us 9 for building 3 infantry next time, right? There we go. So, killed 3 attackers for 2 defenders. Plus we got the 1 for an extra little bit. There we go. And that's what we're looking like. All right, so if you've made it this far in the game, you know it's not a great sitting game, but we have a fraction of a chance here of an opportunity that may present itself. So Germany bought 10 infantry, 2 artillery, 2 bombers. They've recognized on the fact that they don't really need to keep pressure on Moscow. They can bypass Moscow and go to India and come back to Moscow. And by going to India, they're going to really disrupt before I get established into the Southeast Asia corridor. So it's a good move there. I had actually commented to one of the Discord folks that if I was him, I would head towards India, and I would have brought this fleet out to 14 though. Or 15, brought the fleet out this way, probably 14 to disrupt into the, because you'd had these other battleships that could come in and the sub that could come in. So, 14 to threaten the Atlantic and UK again, because bringing 2 guys up here didn't really make that much of a difference, right? But so this does give us a little bit of opportunity. So there's breathing room for Russia right now. So if I can take these 2 territories, then we'll block these tanks out. And if we can kind of clean these up, we can abandon Moscow on Russia 8, even though we'll get to keep it till Russia 9 anyways. I wouldn't expect it, to go beyond R9 anyways. He'll send the bare minimum what he'll have to take India, and then he could come back and then take Moscow, because these guys are going to have to abandon. They'll get crushed by them, so by Japan. So it's kind of a little bit of a mix of stuff going on here. So these guys are going to be demolished. But we're down to less than a 1% chance of winning this game in the long run. What we do have the opportunity is we can kill all of these guys, except for Ukraine, all of these guys, and we're going to march the Russians to West Russia. And since we'll be blocking there, he'll only have the 20 units that can attack them, so we'll be good. And then we're going to try and just march and create as much headache this way as we can to draw troops back to try to buy some time for U.S. down here. But on the side note, if we take Karelia with the UK right now, then that will put us at 8 victory cities. Japan goes, and then it's U.S. turn. U.S. has 2 transports that could hit Shanghai. We also got a battleship cruiser that could also hit there. But obviously, he's got an infantry, a tank, and then there's a whole slob of planes that he could land there if he recognizes the threat. Because we're only going to have 8, he's not going to get the warning message, so that's what we're going to kind of hope is that his confidence, he's going to look at squashing here, look at what we're doing up here, and miss the victory city possibility, because the other part is we've got 1 infantry, 2 planes to take on his 2 infantry here. So, and that's like an 83% chance to take by U.S., so that's what we're going to play, is that the U.S. can get those 2. Because this is a Discord showcase game, I'll talk a lot about how Russia is going to be pushing here and U.S. is going to be wiping out the fleet, and redirect the attention to the center of the board, and then hopefully with sleight of hand be able to
the Victory Seal. Like I said, JonnyA, he's the number one player in Axis right now, so the chances of that happening are probably less than 2%, but that's better than less than 1%. So we're going to play it. We're going to see how it goes. You know, he plays mostly Axis, I believe, so, you know, maybe he's not used to it. And being top platinum Axis, you're not going to see a lot of KJF, so maybe he doesn't see the KJF ally snap very often. Victory City allies, Victory City, my mind just went blank. Sneak attack, whatever. Snipe, that's what I was looking for. Ugh. Any case. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to buy a carrier, a transport, and an infantry up here. I would have loved to drop the carrier here and put some fighters on it if I'd had enough money to help the U.S. set up down here, because they're going to struggle to set up down here, but we unfortunately do not have that capability. So here we go. So really, I should take these guys and wipe out this fleet with the 4 fighters there. But I really want to draw the attention to my play here. So we're going to take the risk of 7 fighters versus 4 guys. And we're going to play it. And then we'll have the 12. He can bring his 2 battleships in here. But even still, the 12 can wipe out the fleet and kill this infantry and maybe take out these guys as well. So these guys have nothing to attack. The good news, if he does sniff it out, then we get conservative here. We take Norway. We sacrifice this transport, but then we're going to have, with Russia here, we're going to have Karelia in the north here for a little while, so it'll pay for the cost of the transport at least. Now we have to actually take this. So we need 2 hits right away. Oh, nice. Very good. Perfect. Now these guys can land on the carrier I just built. Along with this fleet to face the 7 bombers. All right, 4 hits right off the bat. Yes, nice. Whiff, big whiff. Oh, wow, okay. That was better than I expected it to go. Operation successful. So we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4 with 3 left. So we can get 4, 8, 9, 10 units there. Let's pause a second and think about this. My intention was to leave them up here and continue to help just blast the heck out of Germans. But is that enough to make him think twice? I mean, he's got a whole bazillion airplanes I can hit, so I don't think it does. But I'm gonna pause for a second. I'm gonna take a look at the calculator on that. Yeah, it's still a slaughterhouse for him, so we're gonna land these guys all back here. We are gonna go ahead and move these guys in so that he has to move some of these guys in for the U.S. maybe to be able to hit. I don't know that we're even gonna be able to do that because we'll probably have to come back here and build planes. Just to defend, to be able to come in, but, you know, whatever. We'll see. We will see what happens. So, like I said, that takes us to 8 out of 10. We'll see if he sees the Victory Sea Snipe. I imagine he will. I imagine he'll protect against those, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so I have to apologize. I was just playing and going and playing my games and completely forgot about recording, and so I took my U.S. turn, and he's already taken my U.S. rush turn, and he's taken his German turn. He did stack Shanghai. Like I said, less than 2% chance he didn't catch it. He caught it. It means I'm in really big trouble, to put it simply. I was able to expand Russia. We're going to expand and grab some more money. We can come back and stack Moscow again for a while, probably, and try to get U.S. established. I tried to spread them out, maybe make them move around. The problem is I was stupid. I built 2 carriers. I need the carriers, but instead of building the fighters first. But anyways, because I forgot I put my fighters up in Karelia, and they can't. I mean, they can get down to 34, but I had to leave a fleet here to protect them. So, in any case, long story short, is I was thinking there in Moscow, 1, 2, 3, 4, they can get into 35 or 61, and I was going to come back to 35 and catch them, except for they're up in Karelia. So I can't catch them this turn. So I think we're just going to go ahead and, grab some money and then come back and defend. The U.S. strikes, we wiped out the fleet, the German fleet, and we killed 2 arch here without any hitbacks. So the dice start going our way when we don't really need them to. I needed them on UK 2. That's when I needed those dice. But anyways, not that I'm bitter. He did come back, and so I was able to put all my planes up here and try and stack. And so we've got 12 U.S. planes staring at it, but only 1 infantry. And then, of course, 1 transport and 2 UK planes. So, not a whole lot going there. I need like 14 or 15 planes back into here. We've got like 15, 19. These 2 are going to fly over, and these 2, so we have like 23. Debating whether I should leave planes in Karelia or just bring them all back here. I think I want to leave some. I don't know. We'll figure this out. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Actually, we are going to build a carrier, because we're going to need them eventually anyways, because when these 3 bombers come back, we're going to need more and more, and he's going to continue to build bombers, so a carrier turn is going to keep the bombers away. 6 IPC is not really going to buy me anything. I don't need infantry because we don't need infantry. So I think I'm going to grab this with the Russians, actually, because then when he gets me cornered just back to Moscow, I'll have a constant 9 IPC going until he marches all the way back up to there. So that'd be a 3 infantry one. So I'm going to grab that one with Russia. So that means I need this guy to go ahead and grab this one. We'll hit those guys. And I think that's going to be it for the attacks. Not much UK can do. Not much anything anybody can do. But besides the point. Yay, no hitbacks again. Bombers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, bombers can't reach me, subs can't reach me, battleship can't reach me. We'll pull these guys back to stack there with these 2 fighters. So we'll have 2 fighters, 5, 7 versus his 6 bombers. There's a chance he could take these 3 bombers and hit my U.S. fleet if he really wanted to. So I need 15 back in here. 2 Russians. Let's see, 10, 12. 13, 14, 15. 10. Wait, what am I thinking? Sorry. Looking at my messages. So we got 2, 10, 12. Well, these 2 coming in as well. It'll be 13, 14. So I only need to have 1. You know what? I need to check something real quick. Yeah, I can't really. I was hoping to be able to continue to stack fighters there, but I can't really do that right now either. So we'll be safe. We'll bring them back. All right, so that was my last kind of view at the getting the VC snipe. I did continue to play the game a little bit longer and blitz through the rounds. I didn't record them. I thought the VC snipe was probably my best chance left. I've won several games from people missing that, and the U.S. one on France was kind of sneaky, and everything was kind of set with a set flow up here, so I was hoping that maybe we could sneak it in there, but he did stack that Shanghai, and that didn't happen. What I did try after this, just to give you a heads up, my second chance, again, we were at a point where we knew we had to surprise Johnny. We'd have to have him make a mistake, and top guy in rank doesn't generally make mistakes. But our second attempt was we brought that fleet back and did a massive, or was playing a massive quick build of transports here and be able to attack and strike Tokyo at a surprise. And even if I had a 10% chance, I would say, hey, we give that a shot. He caught it, he sniffed it out, he got his defenses back in place and built up here, and it was less than 1% chance. So then the last thing that I did try in those last few rounds I was blitzing through was, okay, my last hope is he was playing very conservatively, and I was giving him 80% shots on the fleets, and he wasn't taking them. So then I started giving him more, and just see what I could get away with moving the fleets around and whatnot. And he finally did. He attacked. He wiped out the U.S. fleet up here. He wiped out the U.S. fleet down here. Japan goes next here in this turn, I believe. I think it's UK's turn right now when we ended the game. Anyways, they're dead, with all the fighters. So, in summary, I felt good about the game, even when the the UK2 whiff that would have won the game for me, essentially. I still felt pretty good. Up until I let the German battleship slip out of the med. That is where things really started to fall apart, and that was a simple one spot placement in my U.S. bomber. I meant to keep him in Persia, where I could have gotten to him and kept him inside, and the threat of the Sea Lion possibilities there made me have to do a lot of adjustments over here and spend a lot over here instead of spending it down here where I really wanted it to be going. So that was really where I started feeling, okay, now I'm well behind. And, of course, the West Russia Caucasus miss, that was the dagger. And so then it was just a couple plays to see if we could find a way to sneak a shot in the game. Didn't happen. So, I did not play my best game. Johnny played solid the whole way. So, and I needed to be on top of my best plus some to have a shot at that game. So, in any case, that's the wrap up of this game. If I take anything away from it, the KJF was very real and had a very good potential shot at it if I hadn't made really the Germany and Caucasus mistakes, in my opinion. I'll continue to take it. I will keep working on challenging the top guys with it when I can. All right, till next time.